And Richard will absolutely do that. Okay. All right. What have I got going on here? A little wagging tail over here. You coming up? Come on. Up, 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 up. Oh, he wants to participate. So what? Oh, don't hit the keys, baby. Okay. This is Spartacus. He's the number 2 barker. When you hear all of these barking noises, we're going to give it another minute or two, and then I'm going to share with you some things that are going to have an amazing impact on your business in the months of December and January. Okay, have you had enough attention, buddy? I originally bought this dog for my wife. She said, he loves you more than he loves me. And he does, but he's a boy. And what I should have done is I should have gotten her a girl dog. Sounds crazy, but that's kind of what it is. So let me quickly look at who's here. Okay, now, and let me look at the questions that are in here. Okay, so let's just, before we jump into some interaction with here they go. So before we jump into some live accounts and I demonstrate a few things, let's just touch base on some information that's going to be pivotal. How about pivotal for your business? Now, there are recruiting scripts, strategies, and tactics that only work in December and January. And they're so effective that I encourage all of you to jump into boot camp, because your business can really experience significant growth. When everybody else's business is slowing down, your business is going to go crazy. 31 days to go until the new year. And you could spend an hour or two a day and ring in 2022 with a larger team and at a higher rank. So let's just start at one simple basic place: goals. Because you have unlimited access to people, you could be talking to as many people a day as you wanted to. Goals are the blueprint to success. So let's figure out what are your goals? How many people can you talk to? How many people can you enroll in your business? What kind of volume will you need to be successful? Now, we hear that sales is a numbers game, and it's true. Sales is a numbers game. So if you reached out and spoke to 20 people a day, Monday through Friday, that's 100 people. And typical network marketers are taught that you have to go through 100 no's to get a yes. Well, they don't know anything about social media, because the truth is, when you're talking correctly to people, 1 out of 10 is an acceptable number. The better you get at this, the smaller that ratio is going to be. I have students that are closing 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, because they stop when they realize that the person on the other end is not a serious candidate for your business. So let's think long-term for a minute. What is your 5-year plan? For those of you that are active in network marketing, you've heard the Jim Rohn quote, you are today the average of the 5 people that you spent your most time with over the last 5 years. And where you're going to be 5 years from now is going to be determined by the people that you spend time with over the next 5 years. So why not spend more time with more successful people? Well, what is your 1-year goal? What is your 90-day goal for those of you that participated in our fall retreat? And what is your goal for next month, for December? Tomorrow is the beginning of a new month. And for those of you that are building your business and you still have 8 hours, 7.5 hours to reach out and connect with people, it's not over. Your business doesn't have to slow down during the holiday season, which a lot of network marketers think, unless you do. Now, there are recruiting tips and strategies like New Year's resolutions, like goal setting, to start having conversations with people. And these strategies are very, very effective. Probably one of my absolute favorite scripts. If you could have a major breakthrough in any area of your life next year, what would it be? And how would that breakthrough affect your life? I mean, this is, like I said, one of my favorite questions, okay? So let's do this. We want to help all of you rank advance by New Year's Eve. And it all revolves around conversation. It all revolves around talking to people. LinkedIn is going to be where you want to spend the most time. LinkedIn is king over all the social networks that are out there. You can recruit like crazy, crush it by using simple attraction marketing strategies that will attract the kinds of people that you want to talk to every day. You get immediate results when you're connected to the right people. And it's all about the right daily posting strategy. So I am going to pop back over here. Let's pop over here. And so first, I'm going to jump into an account. And we're going to jump into Richard's account. All right. Now, earlier today, actually about 2 hours earlier, LinkedIn was having a problem with messaging. And it's clearly been resolved. So, Richard, we reached out to Thomas this morning on Sales Navigator, but we wrote back to him over here. Okay. So all of the conversations that you want to have with people, you want to have over here in one place. Okay. Well, right here, he's telling you he's not a candidate for your business. He's not a candidate for your business. That's the most important part of this process. So he was able to work on a startup concept, now about to have the first closing. So how does that affect him? So what does that mean? If it's about to have its first closing, so he left this company in August of 2020. What has he been doing since that time? But again, the bottom line is the clock is ticking. Tick, tick, tick. And there's no reason to write back. You can't talk to everybody. You judge people by what you see on their profile. Ask a few questions. You're going to learn very quickly if do you see an opportunity for him down the road. Accomplished head of client investment operations. All right. So August 2020. You come back and you look at the message he gave you. Company was initiating a pivot, and it was an opportunity for me to work on a startup concept. Now about to have its first closing. Okay. So the question, the natural question that would come out of here, you worked on a startup concept, now about to have its first closing. What is a startup concept? What is the startup concept? So what are we doing? We're using his words. What is the startup concept that you're working on, that you were working on, that is about to have the first closing?
Max?
Yes.
Hi. And that's exactly why I wanted to ask you. It's a little bit confusing because in his opening where he's talking about he's looking for his next adventure, to me, it looked like he wanted to get out of what he was doing and doing something else.
Right. But
So,
you're absolutely right. But your perception of who he is and what he's all about is based on what you initially see.
Right.
Once you start the conversations, remember, people put on these pages, what they want to talk about. So the answer here, we start out with, so what is this concept that's about to close? Now, what does that mean to him?
And do we ask him, like, what are you talking about, your next adventure? Or so do we bring that up into the conversation?
Sure. What does that mean to you? Okay. So what he's looking to do, what I read out of this is, so he put this whole startup thing together and it's about to have his first closing. He doesn't have anything to do with it. But his experience in putting it together, I'm hoping to take my experience and greatly simplify the alternative investment process. So it's like, hey, I've discovered some new way to do things. And now I'm going to take my experience working with that other company, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to talk to all these other institutions and share my newly acquired knowledge and expertise with them. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, and I was getting similarly to it. And I just was wondering too, do you use a GIF sending with the message?
It depends. It really, the point that I'm trying to make here is that you picked somebody, and listen, at this juncture, you need to pick anybody that's breathing.
Right.
Okay. All right. Because we need to build up that list.
Right.
Okay. But for now, so he's an accomplished head of client investments. And so you need to be saying to yourself, I'm here to sell Primerica. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody that I can bring into my business that's going to get excited about it, that maybe they've already working someplace else. Maybe they want to get started. But I want to find somebody that can benefit almost immediately from working with me. Now, there are certain people that would naturally fall into that area, and it's a big area. So whether it's professionals that are that are transitioning out of the military, earlier today we had a great example with Raymond in Malaysia. So it's all about, and now Raymond has latched on to a niche for him. He's been a swimming coach for over 12 years. And he's having tremendous responses with college graduates. He's also having responses to people that are in school that are looking to generate some income while they're in school. And what he's marketing and selling naturally fits in with their lifestyle and who they are. In your case, you're looking for either professionals that are tired of doing what they're doing. They want to get in. They're tired of, frankly, making money for other employers. And
that's what I was assuming this was, that's what it looked like to me.
Well, that's right. That's what it looked like. And so you start out by asking a simple question. Why did you leave your last job, this job that you worked at for so long? And the answer that you get, kind of tells you, whoa, wait a minute. Now, the other thing that you need to look at, we're not going to send that. The other thing that we need to look at, I'm not going to discard it. We're just going to kind of make it go. Okay, there we go.
Because the interesting thing is he's an intelligent fellow. He responded very quickly. And he says he's currently seeking new opportunities and looking for the next adventure.
That's right. Well, he is. He is. But let me put it to you in another way. Okay. if you're what do you suppose he was earning when he was the, well, let's just come down here. Senior mutual fund administrator. What do you suppose he was making when he was doing that? Any idea?
I would have to assume somewhere in the upper six figures.
Okay. Senior vice president of another company, head of portfolio administration. I'm not sure that it would be in high six figures.
Not
but
high, but middle, to
right.
low to middle, you know.
So here he was a senior administrator. Then he moves up to be a senior vice president for 8 years. And then here he goes and now he becomes a vice president for another company, head of portfolio administration. And then he goes here and he works for 11 years as the head of client operations. I don't know whether that's a step up or a step back, but what we're talking about is somebody that's used to making clearly six figures. Now,
Right.
how long would it take him from just getting started to jump into making six figures? It's going to take him a while. Would you agree?
You're talking about getting involved in Primerica?
Yeah.
It all depends on his markets. He could actually immediately start making six figures.
Okay. And what would who would be in his market?
Who knows? We don't know that yet.
Okay. So there's too many unknowns.
Right. We have variables.
Right. So what I'm saying to you is, in this case, that we got a lot of unknowns. There are going to be other examples, other cases when there are a lot more knowns than unknowns. So why not go for the low hanging fruit? Why not see somebody like this? He hasn't worked since August of last year.
Right.
So maybe he had a lot of people, maybe he knew a lot of people, he probably still does, but somebody, for example, that if we came up here and let's say we did a search for people who are looking for.
And Max, I just wanted to say, without interrupting you, I was also looking in terms of recruiting up, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. You can certainly recruit up. So let's look at looking for an opportunity. And let's go with a district manager. So we have people that have been working as district managers. Now, what does a district manager do? They oversee a district. They oversee multiple locations. But the bottom line is, again, a district manager, depending upon how long they've been doing it, is going to, if they're looking for a new job, they're looking to replace as quickly as they can the income they were making before. Now, they might be willing to take, to start lower, but I also understand that they don't know you. And we have a great example that we used in the last boot camp, where James was talking to somebody who was incredibly successful, who was used to making six figures. But he was in a situation where for over a year and a half, he wasn't able to make any money. His market is dead. And we had a lot of fun talking to him because, he said, listen, I know a little bit about network marketing, and what I know about it, hasn't impressed me. Maybe you could change my mind. Maybe there's something about it that that I don't know. And I could see James on the other end jumping up and down. It's going, we both like the way this was going. But we're not here to push things on people, but there's going to be enough people. You'll know it. You're just getting started. Okay.
Right.
You've got this huge ocean. It's not a pool anymore. It's an ocean of people. And how you deal with people on an individual basis is going to determine your ultimate success. The sooner you can learn, when do I keep going? And when do I make that decision? I got to talk to somebody else. It's easier to work with someone else. The faster you are going to start, seeing numbers. But you're still at the point where you've got to increase the number of contacts. I mean, that is it, because all I have to do is come over here to you got 33 connections.
Right.
All right. And we come over here and we look at how many connections you're sending out. So yesterday we sent out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So yesterday you sent out 12. That's good. That's good. And yesterday was Monday, the weekend. So so now 3 days ago, 1. And then there's a whole, listen, you're getting everything organized, you're getting everything put together. I understand that. But now, so we did 10 yesterday. So now we need to do 10 today.
Right. And we're going to do that. Yeah.
10 tomorrow. And so what we're doing is we're looking at people. Now, this is somebody that you reached out to, a finance student. Okay. Here's currently seeking new opportunity. Let's see who you reached out to here. So we come down a little bit, and she's an account rep at State Farm. She did that for a little over a year and a half. Before that, she was a hostess, childcare worker at LA Fitness. Now, somebody like this. So she graduated from college in 2009. It's 11 years ago. And so we don't know what happened between 2009 and 2014. That's 5 years. So the question is, the real question, of course, is the overall question is, what are you doing now? What are you doing today? Well, we know that she worked for State Farm for a year and a half. What has she been doing since she left State Farm? So the answer to that question alone will tell you if you even want to continue the conversation.
Right.
Okay. So whether they're people at this level or whether they're people at the level of the last person we were looking at, it all comes down to making the connection. Because remember, everybody that you connect with is connected to people. Now, we did a search here. You did a search for Jessica. Now, another feature of LinkedIn is, look over here on the right. So the people that looked at Jessica's profile also looked at these profiles.
Right.
So this gives you another opportunity to reach out and make a connection. Now, this person here was a customer service rep. And notice that some of these people you can message, and some of these people you can make a direct connection to. The people that have message are, let's just look at this profile. All right, so she's a customer service person. And so, according to this, she's working. So she worked at Panera Bread for over 8 years. She was a trainer. So here's catering coordinator. So obviously a question would be, what prompted you to leave Panera Bread? And so now she's been working as a customer service rep. Now, is she looking for another opportunity? Doesn't say. Doesn't say. The more selective you are about connecting with people that you can relate to, the more you can identify people, like I told you, people in the military that are just getting out of the military, they're transitioning out, would be great prospects. Somebody that has either experience in financial services also would be a great prospect and a great candidate. But for now, you've got to really, reach out and we, because this is the first part. This is the first step. And so rather than take the 5 minutes that you're going to spend talking to Thomas, would be better spent searching for new people, is the point I'm trying to make.
No, and I agree with that. I was just wondering based on his profile, because like we said, we were just sending out, our first connection, and then he responded to it quickly. And then we sent him the icebreaker and he responded to that quickly. Then you sent him the message last night. He responded to that quickly.
Right.
So I said, well, this guy, he's engaged.
Well,
So the way I looked at it is that maybe he's a possibility. Maybe he never heard of network marketing before and said, hey, maybe it's something that he'd be open to.
Well, yes, there's always that possibility. Listen, maybe tomorrow. What time do they deliver your mail?
In my area?
Yeah.
Usually like 3 p.m.
Okay, so maybe tomorrow at 3 p.m., somebody's going to knock on your door and they're going to tell you that they're from the Publishers Clearinghouse and you just won $5,000 a week for the rest of your life. It's possible. Again, what happens, and again, see, the more you do this, the more obvious it's going to be. And there are going to be people, sure, he responded to you right away. What else does he have to do? He's on here. He's probably thrilled that you reached out to him. He's looking for something to do. That's what makes LinkedIn so mesmerizing. So, I can't believe I can't think of the word now. Addicting, because you're never alone. People, during COVID, people were getting depressed because they had nobody to talk to. You're never alone on a social network. There's always somebody that you could find to talk to. Always. They're eager to talk to you. He's looking at your profile. He's seeing you're accomplished, you're successful. Why wouldn't he talk to you? One of the early problems we had with Facebook was that, people started using it, for dating and all this other stuff. Well, that stuff is creeping over to LinkedIn. It's creeping over because who could resist it?
For dating?
Dating, absolutely dating. Yeah. I mean, because look, where would somebody that's single and alone that wants to establish a relationship with someone and is looking for somebody professional? Now, you can't filter it by marital status. Okay. But you could come over here and we could do a search for people that are personal trainers.
Max, on Facebook, I could see it, but on LinkedIn, that's a professional site. I would think people would find that offensive.
They do. But that doesn't mean that there aren't people coming on here and doing it.
It's like a predator.
Well, I would call it a predator, but yeah, it's coming over. Because people can't. Now, Debbie says she's gotten dating requests.
Wow.
Okay. Let me just unmute Debbie for a second.
Sure. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hi, Max.
Hi, Debbie. Is your messaging working now? Did it ever come back?
It is for me, yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right, because we had an issue. I was working with Debbie in a coaching session, and all of a sudden, everything that related to messages was gone. You couldn't see anything.
Yeah,
So, okay, so you've gotten dating requests. Have you gotten a lot of
Yeah.
them?
Have I what?
Have you gotten many of them? Gina's saying she's gotten dating requests too. But
Yeah, I've gotten some. I mean, I don't, if I talk to them, if I don't realize what it is, and once they start that, I just completely stop and I either like unconnect with them or just ignore them.
Debbie, can I ask you, they outright ask you really for a date?
Not a date, but to connect in a way that's not businesslike. So,
Holy cow, it's amazing.
yeah,
now-
I was shocked myself, but I just don't, I shut it down as soon as I realize it.
Good for you.
Yeah, no interest in that.
That's crazy. I mean, I would imagine LinkedIn would have some sort of policy to get people like that off this.
no, there's no way of telling. People put in it starts with the questions
Okay.
that they
Right.
ask. Okay, so
Yeah, no, I see what you're driving at. It's just, that's amazing. That's a mind.
And
how long?
a lot of them are like quote unquote military people. I'm not saying that they, that's the picture that they put up. I'm not saying that's what they are, or, like a lot of the oil and gas people. And that's where I typically get the requests from.
Wow.
I'm gonna come over here to Facebook, okay? And what I'm gonna now, Facebook, you'd expect this, right?
Right.
Right.
Facebook, I would expect it.
So we go over here to our friends. Okay, now look at all the friend requests I'm getting here. Men get it from women. Okay, women get it from men. So we come down here and we look at these, and so these are my friend requests, and we don't have to come down very far. When I mean you can pick out the people who are reaching out to you that are clearly have an agenda that you're not interested in. Now, here's the thing.
So these are the nuts in the bowl of M&Ms.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying that all of these people are nuts, but I mean, I just deleted a bunch of them yesterday. So, they don't really pop up. But and what Debbie said is correct. What happens is a lot of them have pictures of men in uniform. Like I'm a colonel. They're very, very, but when you actually look at the details on the profile, there's nothing there. There's nothing there.
Or very little.
Right. And frankly, I've gotten notices from friends that say, hey, Max, somebody's using your picture. Okay. So they could take any picture and literally create an identity, and then they go out there and look to meet people. Now, you would think, so LinkedIn, initially when LinkedIn started, it was a repository for resumes. There was no means of communicating with people. If you're going to communicate, you can communicate with people via email. And it's slowly, ever since 2016, when they added the live chatting feature, now it's become more interactive. Although I've been teaching people how to use LinkedIn since 2010, when they only had 90 million people. Now, the way it would work back then is you saw someone that was clearly a prospect for your business. So you'd send them a message. It was an email. And they would write back when they got it, if they liked the idea of talking to you. So you could send somebody an email. It was all in a built-in emailing system. You would send them an email, and you'd come back the next day, and you'd have an answer. So you send an email on Monday, they write back on Tuesday. You send them something on Wednesday, they write back on Thursday. But as the conversation begins to grow, the relationship grows, what happens is they start paying more attention to the email. So you could send somebody an email 9 o'clock in the morning, they get a little ding. They go there, they answer you right back. So even though it wasn't an online process, for all intents and purposes, it was, because you could write to them, they write right back. You write to them, they write right back.
Right.
Now,
And back then, you had to have like an introduction. Now, if you've got like a second or third connection, they'll just put you through. But in the past, you used to have to get like, you'd have to know their email and get the introduction, and it was much harder than it is today.
Now, Debbie, based on what you just shared, though, on that second and third connection, isn't that based on trust?
Well, everything's based on trust.
Yeah, I would think so too.
right, but this is the internet.
Yeah,
Okay?
I know, and I agree with that. It's almost like the wild, wild west, but
Yeah.
I didn't realize on this specific area of LinkedIn that was an issue, because I'm amazed.
Well, yeah, but there's another component to that, and that is that, it's free. And as long as it's free, people are going to take advantage of that. Now, if somebody was actively searching for people at some point in time, LinkedIn's going to shut them down, or LinkedIn's will require them to pay. But now Melissa here just sent me something interesting. I would actually welcome an online dating site with this much information. It would
Oh,
be
that's
fabulous.
interesting.
It would be fabulous to sift and sort in a way more efficiently. And so let me unmute Melissa, because I got to tell you something.
Interesting. Very
Now,
interesting.
I have been on, let me unmute Melissa.
Hey, Max, while you're doing that, I just wanted to ask you a quick question. In my mind, what I've always done was I've always had an open mind when prospecting people to always just ask. And if they're interested, great. And if they're not, let them make up their own mind. Is that still the norm?
No,
No.
no, because,
So you're saying be more selective than that?
no, I'm saying that you make your initial connections based on your perception of who these people are. And and we don't want to study the profiles. We just want to make these connections. And then what happens is the responses that you get when somebody writes back after the first message, and then they write back after the second message, they're what we call an eager socializer. Now, there are going to be people on there that don't write back right away. But once you start communicating with them, asking them questions that they're interested in, questions about themselves, and they see some synergy between you and them, that's when the relationship starts to build. That's where you're learning about people.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
so it's, after a while, your eye will be trained to recognize the people based on the amount of information you see on the profile. But I want to address something, so now, Melissa, the online dating sites, have you ever been on one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me come back here and so which I was on for 10 years. I was on 5 different dating sites. Okay. I met my wife on Match.com. She never likes me to bring it up, but I know I've met top earning network marketers on Match.com. There was a site called American Singles. There were a bunch of them. And when you think about it, the information that people put on their dating profile, they don't provide you with the information, the work history per se, but you do get a sense of what profession they're in. And you basically, you go from that. And in fact, we say, my 4-step formula: create a page, connect with people, communicate with them, and close them. Years ago, I used to compare the whole thing to baseball. Okay. So baseball was when you reach out to someone and you send that initial message, that initial connection request, and they respond back, they accept the connection, you're on first base. You've made that electronic connection. The next step is second base. How do you get to second base? Well, it's a matter of asking questions, learning about the other person, and moving to the phone. The phone was always second base. Third base was when you meet, face-to-face meeting, because let's face it, when we're into dating, you don't really know until you're sitting eye to eye with somebody whether you're really attracted to them or not. So the general, everybody's agenda was, we're all in a hurry to get to third base, right? And so, and then of course, if once you meet on third base, if you decide that there's some mutual attraction and you want to see each other again, then you've hit a home run. Now, so everybody was in a hurry to get to third base, and what they would do was they would miss the opportunity. Second base is where you qualify the person. Second base is where you learn enough about the person to know whether or not you want to go to third base. And so once you have a list of qualifying questions, I mean, I developed a strategy early on. I never had a bad date. And this is how I used to do it. When you're on second base, you're talking, so it's easy to. So how long have you been on Match? What kind of so have you met anybody nice? I mean, what kind of experience have you had? And what we're trying to do is we're trying to learn, get them talking, and you learn a lot about their personality by what they share. And then ultimately they're going to come back and they're going to say, so what kind of experiences have you had? Now, everybody's had a bad one. Okay. And so, Melissa, have you had bad experiences?
Oh, I definitely have, but before I learned how to do this, and I think the correlation is just crazy good with your training, because I know I'm brand new to all this stuff, but one of the things that excited me the most, Max, was my experience with online dating, sifting and sorting and screening people before I even waste my time to go meet them in person. It's the same thing for prospecting with your business. Exactly. And for some reason, there was a stigma personally with me using social media to grow my business for quite a while. And it wasn't until I went through the online dating on a couple different sites and really learned, like, wow, this is exactly the same thing. So you took something, what I perceived to be very complex, which was growing a business on social media. And when I was able to put it in terms of online dating, it's exactly the same thing, because the qualities and characteristics of a person that you're looking for as a potential mate are exactly the same thing that you're looking for in your business, because you don't want to work with people who don't have a positive mindset, who don't have aspirations and dreams. And, I can ask somebody in 2 seconds, like, what's your big dream? And if they can't answer that question, you're not date worthy, and you're definitely not worthy to be in my business, Right. So it's very similar.
Right. Now, when it comes to social, to the dating sites, they're basically three people lie, or they misrepresent themselves in 3 areas. Number one, their photo is 10 years old, 15 years old, 20 years old. Okay. Then the second thing, they lie about the photo. They misrepresent themselves about their age. And of course, the third one is the photo, age, and then physical appearance. Okay, I didn't say anything. So for example, Gina is using a profile that's 40 years old. I'm not a picture that's 40 years old, but she's not on LinkedIn for a date. She's looking to build a business. So it doesn't matter. Now, the other thing, again, is physical appearance. Okay, because we all know what we like. All right, we all have a type that we like, and that's what makes it different than looking for business partners from looking for, someone that you want to go out with, or a life partner. I mean, there's an area of, it's a lot more, it's a lot more personal. You don't care what somebody looks like that's going to get into business with you. So what happens is when you go to second base, that's the time to qualify them. And so I came up with a series of questions that, I would just flat out say that I've had some really great experiences. And then we've all had some horror stories, but we learn from the horror stories. And so I would ask, and I would say to somebody, listen, I've met a lot of people on here, and I found that people misrepresent themselves. The picture's old. I am assuring you that my photograph is 6 months old. I look exactly like that. And I assure you that yes, I am really 6 feet tall, and yes, so everything you see is real. And when I talk to somebody on second base, I'm looking for that same assurance or reassurance from them that everything, that everything is up to date. And so this is their opportunity. If there's something off, if there's something missing, if there's something different, this is their opportunity to talk about it. I mean, I remember one time I was having a great conversation with somebody, and we literally could have met for lunch 2 hours later. Okay. But it turned out that as she got to know what I was looking for, now the profile clearly, if I went by the profile, she was exactly what I was looking for. And then as the conversation deepened, she told me that she had a bad accident a year and a half ago. And she was on all kinds of steroids and everything else. And so she gained like 90 pounds. All right. Now, that didn't prevent her from going online and connecting with people, because it's fascinating. You're not alone. There's somebody out there that you can talk to. But when we met, if we met, there'd be no attraction. She's not that person. So what I used to do was I used to tell people when we're on second base, I said, look, I'm honest. I'm telling you, what you see is what you get. And I'd like, and I assume that everything that I'm reading about you is true. If it's not true, this is an opportunity for you to tell me. And oh, no, it's all true. And so sometimes if they were lying, you'd never meet. You had a great conversation, we're always looking, they'd always put off the meet, which again is another sign. But what I used to say is, I've only had 2 really bad meetings. Okay. And I met this person. One person had completely the picture was like 25 years old. Our meeting lasted a minute. See, what happens is you meet them. Okay, so we're going to sit down. We're going to have a meal. We're going to meet for lunch or whatever, and so they don't look like what they say they are. So you'll sit there, you'll eat the hour, not me. And I would say right up front, if somebody has lied to me, if somebody has lied to you, and they're misrepresenting themselves, then they have shown you the ultimate disrespect. They have wasted your time. When you meet them, you owe them nothing. And so I used to tell them, I said, listen, it was a 1-minute meeting. I said to them, I can't believe you lied to me. I can't believe you thought that little of me to waste my time. We have nothing to talk about. I'm out of here. Now, when you tell someone that you're talking to on the telephone that, honey, if you lied to me, I'm going to be super pissed off. I am going to walk out of there so fast that your head's going to spin. They don't meet you. So that becomes a way of filtering. Now, if you meet on third base and they've told you the truth and you've been truthful, and let's face it, it takes face-to-face, eye-to-eye to know if somebody really attracts you. But if I met somebody and I wasn't attracted, but they hadn't live, man, I'd sit down and I'd buy them lunch or I'd buy them dinner because I had to eat. I was hungry. They were hungry. And I got to write the whole thing off as a business expense because I was doing research on a dating book. But you're filtering people on LinkedIn as well. Only now, physical appearance doesn't matter. What matters is what they do. What matters is what they've done in the past. What matters is, are they the person that you're looking for? You want somebody that has the aptitude to be successful. You want somebody that has as much desire to be successful as you. You want a running mate. You want a partner, somebody that's going to come into your business, and together you're going to help them build their team. They're going to help you build your team. And the more selective you are about that, and it starts with that initial back and forth message. Yes, they're eager socializers. Back and forth, back and forth. Even when we started to do that district manager search. Now, a district manager oversees a whole bunch of stores. Now, there's some district managers, everybody loves them. Okay, everybody loves, I mean, he's into training, he's into helping people be better than they can be. People love him. And then there are district managers that are, I was going to say assholes, but it would diminish the value of this. You know, just, they're not liked. Okay. They come in, they're looking for numbers. There's no back and forth support, camaraderie. And all of that figures into the relationship. Last year, when COVID hit, sometime in February last year, First Fitness, a chain of gyms, let 60 district managers go on one day. One day. And how did we know? Because we were talking, you know, I was logged into somebody's account. We were talking to this person. They had worked for this company for 18 years. And in one day, they were let go. All right. Now, we weren't the only network marketer that was talking to these people, but it's all about relationships. And one of my students ended up landing a district manager who initially was down on network marketing. They didn't believe in it. It was a scam. And it was a conversational process based on mutual respect. So listen, if you feel like network marketing is a scam, it's a pyramid, I get it. I understand. And I can respect that. But the bottom line is, you're going to find you have very few options when it comes to jumping into something that's going to replace your income. Now, all of the things that you like doing as a district manager, training managers, helping and supporting people in these gyms become good at sales, helping them grow their membership. You thrive on that. You love it. You've helped people start out, move up into a management position. That same feeling that you got of satisfaction, that joy you got for helping somebody, that's what I do. That's what you do as a network marketer. In order to be successful in network marketing, you have to be passionate about the products to the point where you tell people about them, even if you weren't getting paid. You have to like the company. You got to be passionate about the company. And you want to be working with somebody that is dedicated to helping you become successful. The reason that so many people are miserable in network marketing is somebody got them on a product. They love the product. But now when it comes to building the business, the person that showed them the product, are you kidding me? I'm going to work with I have more business knowledge in my finger than this person has in their whole body. This person can't work with me. They can't help me. If I was going to choose to get into a network marketing company, then man, I'd be looking for somebody that was successful. I'd be looking for somebody that had the proper tools. So you got all these people that are in network marketing companies. They love the products, and their perception is, oh, anybody can be successful in this business. You just need to talk to people. But in order to do it today online, well, you need online tools. You need systems. So there's lots of people in network marketing companies that are orphans. They're not connected to anybody. So these poor people go out and they go to these trainings and they get sucked into buying trainings from these marketers and these gurus. I mean, now I'll use Debbie as another example. Debbie, how much money have you spent on trying to build a successful network marketing business?
I've spent quite a few, and I've done a lot of different trainings. And while, Bob Proctor was amazing, but like from some of the gurus, and ended up following a group and going from one to another, and, one business to another, and investing. So a lot of money. And I didn't really get what was needed. And so to really build a business. So it's very frustrating at times.
Yeah.
Not now, but it was frustrating.
Right. Because, and what happens is, you're with a group, you like them, you're all trying to accomplish the same thing. So they'll go to another thing, they'll go to another thing, they'll go to another thing. And at the end of the day, the process of using a social network to build your business is very simple. And if
Do it if they have the right, like, training and right instructor, like you are.
right, well, right. But you got to keep it simple.
Right.
And so when you're working with somebody and they're telling, it's kind of like, no, you don't need a funnel. No, you don't need all these technical things, because that stuff is not easy to duplicate. You can't bring
Not at
somebody
all.
right. You can't bring somebody into the business and tell them, okay, now you need a funnel, you need this, you need this. When it's so fundamentally simple, all you need to do is get to know the person on the other end, discover what their needs are. You've got a solution to their problem. And as you're talking to them, and this is very important, what you're doing is you're looking for somebody that has the aptitude to be successful. There's synergy between you and that person. And you don't know about that until you're talking to them. Just like in the dating area, you don't know. You can have a wonderful time. I spent hours talking to people. The conversations were delightful. It passes the time. B, it's entertaining. I mean, I didn't feel like, man, I got to go out to meet people. No, I met them online. We ended up talking on the telephone. Now, back then we didn't have the visual stuff that you have today. Now that's changed the whole process, because now, second base is almost virtual, because, because, hey, let's do it. Let's do a Zoom thing. And we could look at each other face to face. We could talk to each other. But still, we're looking at our perception of who the other person is based on what we see. It's not like, okay, stand up, turn around. What's your pant size? What size jacket do you wear? To really get to that point. But everybody's perception is based on what they see.
Right. And everybody's filter is different.
That's right.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Because this is like an epiphany for me, because it's making me realize how naive I was, because I never realized this.
Well, instead of being naive, it's inexperience. You just didn't know.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if once you do know, and you keep falling into the same trap, then it becomes you're being naive.
Right. Yeah.
And,
Well,
you're a sharp guy.
Yeah.
You've been successful at other things, and you will be amazingly successful at this. Melissa is I predict that by by Valentine's Day, because she's had some great success in building her business. Now, this is a whole new environment for her.
Right.
Okay. And she's like a kid in a candy store.
Exactly. And that's what I feel like, a kid in a candy store. And she's very sharp too. So that's a good thing.
Right. But it all comes down to filtering.
Right.
The sooner you can qualify a person so that we determine, is this going to go anywhere or not, the faster your business is going to go. You've got to learn who to talk to, and you've got to learn when to stop. And then once you bring people into the business, then it comes down to, the next steps. So it's a learning process.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, it's also a numbers game. So, and it's a learning process. Again, there was somebody who asked me a question that I saw about somebody's dog starts to bark.
Yeah, yours is not the only one who barked.
I know. So let me, there was somebody that asked a question about Sales Navigator.
That was me, Max.
Was it you?
Yeah, I just wanted to know from a standpoint of using the search feature and the filters, when you showed us how you can find out who has a brand new account, like, less than a week old or within a month and things like that. A lot of those people I'm noticing haven't taken the time to actually put content on their page and things like that. So with the scripts that we have for, the icebreaker scripts to reach out, that basically say, hey, your page popped up as someone that, I might like to know. And after looking at your content, I agree, you really can't say that for that person. So I was just kind of curious, since I'm a newbie to LinkedIn, is there a beneficial script as an icebreaker to reach out to those people who are really brand new with accounts that might be looking for opportunities that's a little different from the one that, is the template one that we're using?
Well, there is, but you have another issue. In fact, I was talking to Will a little while ago, and he said, well, you're getting these messages that you've got so many, so many connection, so many, can't think of what the word is. See, what Sales Navigator does is they limit you to the number of contacts that you could cold contacts. I like that. The actual word is escaping me at the moment. They give you 25 a month.
Okay.
And so what that said to me, you're doing it the wrong way. See, what you do is you use Sales Navigator to find the people. Now, once you've identified somebody that you want to talk to, then there's 3 buttons you push. You want to look at their profile over on the regular LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And you do all your communications over there. You never use their in-mail messages. You never use those, never. Every month, and they'll accumulate, but you don't use them. You don't, all of your communication with somebody, it's like, you'll learn about it in boot camp. LinkedIn is the United States. Sales Navigator is Texas. It's a small section of LinkedIn where people are communicating, and they've all got their own specific online agenda, but it's not the same. And so you're using Sales Navigator to filter. And for example, now Courtney just typed, I'm having trouble with Sales Navigator. I signed up for the free trial. And everything I try to do takes me back to the getting started page. And so, yeah, there is, Courtney, there is a few simple things that you have to do to position yourself to use LinkedIn correctly. And we have a video on YouTube about it. In our first session of boot camp, we'll go in and we'll describe it. Or, you can jump on, one of our Ask Max sessions, and, I can demonstrate it for you there. But you are doing something wrong, and, or you're doing something incorrectly. The whole idea that look, it's like you're all learning how to dance. You know, you'll get to a point in time. I mean, I got to testify. I had a blast on Match.com. Okay. I mean, it was like I learned things about myself that I was married for 15 years. And I, you know, so what do we like? You know, what's really important to us? And I came up with 10 things that I was looking for, my 10 little boxes. And I also made another set of boxes, 10 things that I absolutely were deal killers. Okay. So I could be looking at a profile and they had all these great things, but there were 3 things on their profile that were deal killers. And so what am I going to do? Am I going to ignore the deal killers and move on and see, well, maybe it'll work out? No, you don't have to, because you got so many choices of people to, you know, to go through. And it can be work, you know, trying to meet people on a dating site. You've kind of fit it into your schedule. But I mean, I got a book that it's one of my to-do things that would have to be modified a little bit because, again, the game has changed. Now it's a little different. But the basic concept, just like the basic concept of meeting people on LinkedIn and bringing them into your business, it hasn't changed since the AOL days. Francisco is having a ball on this. He was on the session earlier today. He's talking to 3 whales, 3 network marketers that have large groups, and he expects to bring all 3 of them into his business either by the end of today or tomorrow. And this is the kind of activity that you all want to have. And you will all get there. Okay. It's a process. You're all learning to dance. Now, tomorrow night session of boot camp, we're going to focus on creating your profile, putting yourself out there. Then next Tuesday, it's going to be about connecting with people. And the following Thursday, it's going to be about communication. Now you have the videos of the previous boot camps that you can tap into. Okay. And catch up or get ahead of the class. But everything is changing. One of my students told me earlier today that they had been in, I think it was the April boot camp, and they were in the August boot camp, and now they're in the December boot camp. And they went back and looked at the tools. They looked at the information that was covered. I said, man, it's as different as night and day. I said, yeah, because everything's changing. And strategies that we use, just like what we're going to teach all of you in December, is unbelievably powerful. It's all about having a conversation with somebody. And in December, you know, December is a funny month because people start thinking about, well, what am I going to do next year? You know, what are my New Year's resolutions? Where do I want to be a year from now? And what's it going to take to get there? And so there are going to be people that are open and honest, and those and that you're going to enjoy talking to. And then there are going to be people that no, they're fakers. They're on here to network, to meet people, but it's not the same. And so you all will learn, and it's really, frankly, just a matter of how fast you want to go. So, and I always tell people, stay in boot camp, because every month you're going to learn something new, but it keeps you engaged. Every day you want to be talking. And when I say talking, I mean texting. You want to be texting 10 people a day, minimum. If you're having 50 conversations a week, then you should be able to bring in 3-4 people. I mean, now we have students that, like, for example, Francisco in 1 week brought in 16 people. Another week he brought in 19. So how does he do that? Well, it's all about who he's talking to. And the project launch script that a number of you are using right now are unbelievably popular, and they work like crazy. Okay. And, yeah, exactly. Well, so Melissa says, well, you know, she had her own deal of deal killers, non-negotiable. Right. You know so much about the other person. And the thing is, it's not like you have to compromise. No, what, you don't have to compromise. I mean, it's like you got an ocean of people. Now, if you're gonna, a lot of people would make the mistake of, you know, I want to meet somebody within 10 blocks of where I live. Well, that's crazy. And sometimes, you know, you have to expand your searching parameters. I mean, let's face it. I mean, when I was doing it, I would search, I would 50 miles. So I like to drive. So when I was living up in Palm Beach and Singer Island, I would drive as far south as Boca Raton. It was about a 35-minute drive. Would I drive down to Fort Lauderdale? Maybe, if, you know, if I was motivated. Would I drive down to Miami? No. Although on occasions I did drive down to Miami. Again, it becomes a matter, and to drive from Palm Beach to Miami, man, we're talking about an hour, a good hour and maybe 20-minute drive. Would I drive that far to meet the perfect person? Sure I would, you know, but I would be, right, it depends. It also depends on traffic. But I, you know, when I was living on Singer Island, it was great because people would come up to see me. Why? Because it was a learning. Singer Island was a phenomenal place. I remember one time, and I really need to cut this short, but wow, no, I really do need to cut this short. But I was talking to a person that lived a good hour away from me. And so she asked me, she said, where do you live? And I said, well, I live on South Beach. I live right across the street from Joe's Stone Crabs. And so she said, man, I would drive to Miami Beach for dinner at Joe's. Hey, I'm right. So I'm right here. So we've all got stories. And the bottom line is, have fun with this. I mean, really, have fun. But it's a business. And like we talked about in the retreat, you have to treat it like a business. Have to treat it like a business. You want to be the more selective you are about who you talk to, the more successful you're going to be. And frankly, the more fun you're going to have. Don't talk about your business until you've qualified the other people enough. That's the biggest mistake people make.
Max, I think we should turn this into a reality show.
You know, actually,
That's fine.
we probably could, but we have to. Everybody would have to have notice because I'm the only one who we can see.
We would have fun.
You know, that's certainly something. You know, Melissa, you love the baby turtles on Singer Island. The baby turtles are all over South Florida in turtle season. But where I lived, I had a lower penthouse on a building that was right up against the water. I would literally have 3, I call them Jacques Cousteau moments every day. Because I could come out there, the water was, Singer Island is where the Gulf Stream comes the closest to the United States. So the water up there is unbelievably clear. And at the north end of Singer Island is MacArthur Park, which is a reserve. So I'd stand out there and you'd see sharks, you'd see stingrays, you'd see, in fact, the first week that I was living there, I went nuts because I'm looking at all these sharks swimming along and they're like 15 feet away from people in the water. They're swimming. I mean, I went downstairs and hey, I went down to the beach, get out of the water. There's sharks there. And people look at me like I'm crazy. And in fact, at one time I went to a lifeguard stand and I said, do you realize that there's sharks out there? I mean, and I said, why don't you give me the number of the stand and I'll call you when I see them. And they thought I was nuts because there were no shark attacks up there because there was so much marine life. The fish, the sharks were well fed. And, but it was beautiful up there. I lived up there for 5 years and then I moved, I came back to civilization and I moved back to Miami Beach. So I've watched Miami Beach grow and evolve. I watched Fort Lauderdale grow and evolve. And then I moved up to Palm Beach. And I've watched Palm Beach grow and evolve. And I came back to South Florida. I mean, I love it where I live. And the thing for me has always been, it's always been about view. Wherever I live, I have to have a phenomenal view. And all of you should be able to enjoy where you live. All of you should be able to enjoy all the things that you do. The most important thing is to focus on your goals. Your goals are to talk to people, bring people into your business, help them become successful. And in many cases, you're helping people do things that you're just in the process of learning too. So it, you know,
That makes
which is
sense.
okay, which is okay. You know, you learn it together. But I will tell you this, that we did a survey of people that took our retreat 2 years ago. We've got another one going out right after the first of the year. And 85% of the people that responded, and the catch here is responded, because a lot of people didn't respond, but 85% of the people that did respond today are all making six figures. What was interesting is that 25% of them are in different companies. So it's all about giving you the information that many of you don't have, and giving you the, because it's all about knowledge. Knowledge is power, but you have to use it. And once you have it, how you use it is going to determine how fast you grow. So with that, tonight we have a special training. If you're not connected with the Power Lead system, folks, there's no point. Yeah, so Debbie, you just found that script I was talking about. That's the one I was referring to. So I'll be back tomorrow. We have a special broadcast at 9, but we'll have an Ask Max session at 9:30. We'll have an Ask Max session at 4. And hey, who knows, Richard, maybe we will turn this into some kind
I think it would be great. We got to look into that.
we definitely. So I will be back. We'll catch up to you next.